Greetings and peace to you all. My name is Umi. Thank you guys for joining me for another video. Thank you to everyone who has liked, shared, subscribed. You've booked a session, you've made donations. I really appreciate the support. So today we're going to talk about a very interesting question that often comes up in sessions that I do, where I will ask people this very simple yet loaded question. Why? What is the why behind what it is you're doing? The relationship you're in, the job you're at, the company you keep, that thing you're pursuing. Why do you believe what you believe? Why are you feeling stuck? So asking these questions, the initial response is often very shallow. And I'm not saying that to be offensive or judgmental or to condemn anyone, because I also ask myself this question a lot. And I peel back the layers behind instant gratification or just telling myself a thing because it sounds good, self-deception. So when you ask this question, why, and you go a bit further, why, and then why, and then why, until you get to the core, the root of a thing, it's very revealing. It helps us to recognize where we are on a soul level, where we are in our life, in our decision making, our ability to discern and to reason and to make sound decisions in our lives comes up with this one very critical question of why. So I share this because I encourage you all to do that, to examine a particular area of your life where you feel you are having some challenges, or it could be you're wanting to start a business, you're wanting to enter into a new relationship, long-term committed relationship, you're considering having a child, questions around your sexuality. Ask yourself, why? Why do I feel this way? So for example, when I was saying that sometimes that initial response is quite shallow, wanting to give ourselves an answer that's satisfactory so we can just move on and not be bothered with it. But for those who don't know the answer to specific questions, especially the why in their life, it's because there's a lack of soul searching, a lack of self-analysis, introspection, inner work. Because the inner work, that inner alchemy, allows us to dig deep and derive the answers to those questions that seem to be very difficult, especially if the answers may be coming from someone outside of you. They maybe can't answer certain questions for you. Those questions are unique to you. It's based on your own personal self-analysis, your own observation of your reality, your experience, your self-expression. Before we slip into victimization, before we slip into self-deception, we ask ourselves, why? Why did that happen to me? I was a victim in this situation. I was abused. I was hurt. I can't trust anybody. This happened to me. That happened to me. That may be true and it may be valid. And without judgment, let me ask you, why do you feel that that experience is still relevant in your life today? If it happened in the past, what do you need to learn from it? Were you ready to move beyond? What breakthrough are you waiting for? Because ultimately you don't want to live your entire life still holding on to a situation whereby you were the victim. At what point can you take charge and you be empowered by an otherwise difficult or traumatic situation? Why are you still in this space? So there are moments when our own character and our personalities, our archetypes can shock us in terms of how we are behaving and why we are living our lives a certain way. And this is a part of us that we're hoping to refine. So the whole purpose of this is not to offend anyone or to be judgmental or to condemn a person. Like, why would you do that? It's not that kind of why. It's a why to help you or myself in cases where I've done my own self-analysis and examination to understand my true motives and to examine my heart. What is my heart condition revealing when I'm behaving or acting a certain way or responding a certain way, pursuing a certain thing? So if there are parts of us that are being motivated by greed, a desire for power, selfishness, ignorance, blindness, deafness, dumbness, this isn't to be, again, offensive, but to help us to see what parts of ourselves we have to work toward healing, refining, fine-tuning, maturing. So this is important because in order to avoid having these shameful secrets and these hidden agendas, being liars or imposters or filled with self-deception, we have to ask ourselves this question, and that may come up, meaning you may say, well, I'm not a liar. I don't have a hidden agenda. I know who I am. I'm not that kind of person. And we can tell ourselves that we're, righteous, saintly, wonderful people. But in essence, there are moments where our hidden agendas come to the surface and we ourselves didn't even realize that that was there. And it's not to say that all hidden agendas are necessarily sinister and evil, but the problem here is when we ourselves are oblivious to it. We ourselves are not even aware that we have this hidden agenda, pursuing interest in occult and metaphysics for feeling like you have power. I have power, I can do certain things. I'm psychic, I'm clairvoyant, I'm clairaudient. You know, I can control my reality. I'm a master manifester. You're driven by power, but maybe initially that was hidden. Even with myself, I constantly examine my agenda, my intentions, the why behind what I do. And it always goes back to my desire and interest to help other people. So I have to question myself in order to stay in alignment with my purpose. This is a daily thing. This is a lifelong thing, because in a world where we're so easily influenced and there's so much to pursue and there's so many desires people have, and you can manifest this and manifest that, it's very easy to get caught up in that interest. And true story, I shared this in the video on Capricorn rising, so some of you who saw that maybe know, but there was one point where I called myself helping out a friend and I ended up getting in legal trouble and was in jail for a few days. And while I was in there, after I got over the initial shock of what the hell am I doing here in jail, I was immediately helping people, like talking to other women who were sad, emotional, who were going through their stuff. And I realized in that moment, this was years ago, I realized in that moment that this is what I'm meant to do. I'm in here going through my own caught up in my own problems, but my inclination, my instinct was to talk to other people, help them, listen to them. Well, what happened? Well, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna get out soon. You're gonna see your children. Like, it was my nature to do that. Without having money, without having fancy clothes, without having anything around to validate me wanting to help people. I was in a low place, but my inclination was to help. And I understood the why. Why was I doing this? It wasn't like they could pay me. It wasn't like I was getting likes or hearts on social media. Hell, I was in jail, but this was what I was doing. So I always come back to that space in my mind when I'm talking to people, whether I'm charging for a service or just extending myself for free, that my intentions, my why behind this is that I'm here to help, period. Everything else is blessings from the Most High. Everything else is a gift. And so I value that. I'm doing a work that isn't my own. So for many of you, in whatever area of life this applies, again, relationships, your sexuality, who am I? How do I want to show up in the world? How do I accept myself? What am I fighting against? What is this inner conflict? Why am I in this space? Answering those questions to the best of your ability, to the depths of your soul, will give you the validation you need that will not come from anything outside of you. Not what someone told you, not what you read, not money, not material acquisitions, not any of it. It's going to come from your own sense of knowing, your own sense of self-worth, and your own self-analysis, that you've done the work to come to this conclusion. You know who you are, period, when everything else has been stripped away from you. And that's a very rewarding and a very healing realization to come to. You can be instantly healed in a moment when you understand the why. And that applies to the traumas, the difficulties, the hardships we endure in life. Many people I've talked to who are in the midst of going through a hardship or who are recovering from a hardship, once they start to reflect on what it's done for them, how it strengthened them or thickened their skin or helped them to establish boundaries in their life, help them to realize and see who they truly are, it's a liberating feeling. They no longer carry the weight, the burden, the baggage of difficult experience or hardship. They're now liberated from that. They carry it around as just a little token of a memory that they can reflect on when they were in that space. But look at who I am now. I'm far bigger than that experience. I've grown. My soul has evolved bigger than that experience. So I know the why behind what I'm doing. Why are you in relationships that are abusive, relationships where you're always being used, people mooch off of you, you're a doormat? Once you start to analyze that, oh, I remember always feeling that way as a child, always feeling like I wasn't worthy, always feeling like I had to tap dance and perform for everyone to love me. Now that you come to that understanding, you realize why you're conditioned that way, you can make the change. You can turn off that switch and turn on another. You can empower yourself through what you know about yourself, your nature, what you know about yourself, strengths and weaknesses. You can be empowered by both. So you don't have to see your weaknesses as such, as something that just cripples you and makes life difficult. You can see it as an opportunity to connect with other people. You can see it as an opportunity to work towards strengthening those things. So when we have difficulty writing, because I'm right-handed, but when I practice writing with my left hand and doodling with my left hand, I get better. I establish more control when I'm utilizing this hand as opposed to my dominant hand, and I'm strengthening what would have otherwise been a weakness in the area of writing. So you can now see that weakness and turn it into a goal, turn it into something to work toward. Again, this could be associated with your character, your love life, your career. It could be associated with your spirituality and your religious beliefs. What for you feels like a difficulty that you're ready and willing to overcome. So I wanted to share that with you all. I thank you for tuning in. Please share your comments below. How are you understanding the why in your life, in your decision making? What have you learned about yourself? I am available for sessions. That information is in the description. You can also reach out to me via email. So again, thank you guys for tuning in, and until next time, peace.